let's get into the Tottenham update because there's quite a bit of interesting stuff in there. We're going to focus on Ange's press conference first and foremost, and we're going to go through an injury update. And he says, we've had an illness bug running through the squad, so a few have missed training. I've heard that Fraser Forster, Radu Dragusin and Archie Gray haven't trained all week. Maddison as well, up until yesterday, hadn't trained all week. So, and I don't know, there might be more as well.
We should just put an Arteta.
Yeah, we should.
Get the game called off.
We should.
That's really what we should do.
If it was COVID, if it was COVID times, then we probably would be able to, but it's not COVID times. But yeah, we just something that we didn't need with this injury crisis looming over us as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a disaster, let's be honest. It's nothing short of an absolute disaster at the moment. When it doesn't rain, it pours at the moment for Tottenham Hotspur. We can't seem to catch a break. Well, they caught something, but not a break. And we're in dire straits. We are on our knees, on our feet, probably on our knees over a toilet at the moment, I think, of the whole squad. I think I don't know what can I say? Like, we're on an injury crisis now. The remaining players have been hit by illness. If what you say is true, I mean, look, just because they didn't train, I guess doesn't mean they're not going to play. But the likelihood is, you know, what kind of condition are they going to be in if they do play? If they haven't trained all week, and are they going to be, rushed back? Are they, you know? But again, if two of those players, all three of those players are forced to Dragusin and Gray. I mean, who are we playing at centre-back? Who are we playing in goal? I mean, it's a ridiculous situation. And also some of the other players, maybe some of the other players have trained, but are they still 100%? Are they also maybe affected somehow by the illness? Come tomorrow, you know, some players going to wake up affected by the illness at the last minute? Maybe it hasn't hit them yet. I mean, it's the last thing we needed, quite frankly.
You know, we were all going on last week, and I was waking up yesterday thinking, you know what, Spurs might put in a performance, a whole week on the training ground, no game, a whole week's preparation, but we can't even get that.
It's a disaster, absolute disaster. Not more I'd concern. It's coming up against a Newcastle team in the form they're in confident mood as well. Even our best with an 100% fully fit squad, it was going to be a very difficult game tomorrow. Now we've got an injury crisis. We've got players coming down with illness, important players as well. It's horrific. And yeah, look, it will be a miracle on this evidence to get a result tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah. He also said regarding the players that are out injured and not sick, he said, Destiny, his hamstring looks around 6 weeks for him. We lose Bentancur suspended. None of the injured players are back yet. Richarlison and Mikey Moore could be back in January. He says they're the next cab off the ranks. Van de Ven, Romero and Ben Davis are all back at the end of January, and Vicario is progressing on schedule, could be back until in February.
Yeah, I mean, it's again not great news. We were hoping maybe mid-Jan for Romero and Van de Ven, so the fact that they're late Jan is not great. He said Ben Davis, after he picked up an injury, was going to be a couple of weeks, and now he's saying end of Jan. So again, that's also later than expected. Obviously, Udogie, we had that news a few days ago, so it's not a massive surprise. But there you have it. He was asked about Udogie, and he was saying, he was set to be rested in the game that he played, and then Spence got sent off. And then he had to play, and then obviously he picks up an injury, and that's just where we're at the moment. That's kind of like how things are going for us. Everything that can go wrong seems to be going wrong. Like whenever you think it can't get worse, it does get worse essentially for Tottenham right now. So it's not good news. And look, I know we're only 3 days into the window, but every game that ticks past without any signings through the door. The more games we're going to probably be dropping points at this rate because, we've got no defence at the moment. The defence is completely running on empty, and it's it's hard to stay positive about how I see us picking up any sort of results at the moment with the situation that we're in, to be honest.
Yeah. Regarding other comments that he's been making in the press conference regarding Man-huk, he says there's no real plan or timeline for him. Let him settle. He's still very young, and he's coming from the other side of the world where the level is nowhere near what he'll face here. He's got Sonny here, which is a big help for him. So, I guess we probably won't see him this weekend for sure, and maybe the next couple of weeks.
We might have to see him this weekend on the bench at least, because we got literally no one. I reckon whether he plays or not, I reckon he'll be on the bench. Because we put, like, say, a teenager who we're never going to play, like Oluseyi or something, why would we put him on the bench ahead of a Heung-min, who's obviously got a bit more senior football behind him? And he's probably, if you're not going to, look, we've put these teenagers, right, these kids, we've pulled them out of school and put them on the bench with no real intention of playing them, right? So at least Man-huk, we've signed him for, decent money. He's come from the K-League having done really well. So if we're probably more likely to play him than a school kid. So,
yeah, but I'll tell you why. Is because that we're actually, as much as it's weird to think about, we're actually more covered in the forward line at this moment in time than defence. Defence is going to need kids on the bench, no doubt about it. We've got Timo Werner there, we've got Son there, we've got Brennan,
what cover do we have in the forward line?
More than the defence, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but we're going to need some sort of players on the bench for forward players, and it might as well be him.
Timo will be on the bench.
One player. So no, I think he'll be on the bench. I don't know whether he'll play, but I'm pretty certain he'll be on the bench. Unless he's.
But it'll be him alongside school kids.
Yeah, 100%. But unless he's not match fit to play, I don't see why he shouldn't be on the bench. There's no real reason, because we're literally so short at the moment.
Even if he isn't match fit to play, he'll probably still be on the bench.
Yeah. So look, I don't know. You're right. I don't know whether we'll see him or not this weekend, but I do think he'll be on the bench, and if let's say someone picks up an injury in the forward line, he might have to be called upon.
And then he's talking about January transfers, and he says the club is working hard to get some help for the playing group. We need to bolster up the numbers a bit. January is obviously not an easy time to bring players in quickly, but we still want to do what's best for us rather than panic. I mean, it kind of is a panic situation at the moment.
Panic stations. I mean, the fans are panicking, that's for sure.
And I'm sure he's panicking behind the scenes as well. It's just
of course. I mean, look, the situation we're in, it's difficult, like, to stay calm, I guess, because the form's dropped off. We're not getting any players back. We're losing games and we're dropping points left, right, and centre. He said in his pre-match press conference, we have to start picking up points in the Premier League, and it's only getting more difficult. It's not the situation isn't letting up at all when it comes to injuries, and it's only getting worse now with illness. So, obviously, the temptation would be to panic. But as well, you don't want to put yourself in another situation where you've got a play, you sign a player who's not the right fit, and then all of a sudden we're stuck with him for the long term. So that's also a situation you want to avoid. But
if that is the case, we need to focus on loans.
Yeah. So
it's at that time, like, we've got too many players out at this moment in time. We need to just bring in bodies.
At the end of the day, we've got. The revenue of this club is hundreds of millions. The club is worth billions and billions of pounds. We've invested millions and millions in our recruitment team. I'm sure we pay them a good wage, right? I'm sure Director of Football Johan Lang is getting paid a healthy money. It's time for him to earn his bloody money, right? Yes, it's going to be hard to get players, but you're at a club who's one of the richest clubs in the world. Like, find someone who fits the system. How hard is it? You've been given... Look, this injury crisis doesn't come overnight. How long have we been here? 2 months now? With this injury crisis and the problem that we're in? Like, we should be ready for this window. We should have planned for it. We should have known what we've wanted. We should have had these conversations. We should have had these meetings. And now it's time to execute. There's no need for dilly-dallying. We should be going out there and getting things over the line and getting things done. And, I don't want to hear like excuses about. And look, I do understand it's a difficult window and all these different things because of certain things, but you should have a vast network of scouts and vast network of analysts to analyze all these different players that you've gone through because we've been in this situation for a while. So. Get it done.
Is this your first transfer window following Spurs?
Absolutely not. It's but look, we need to get things done. We need to
no matter who the recruitment team is, no matter who the director of football is, it's always the same shit every single transfer window. Yeah, look, it is only the 3rd of January, so I don't want to be too hasty, but I mean, this happens every year.
I mean, I don't think we're as
the injury crisis doesn't happen every year, but it did happen last year. Not as bad as it is this year, but it still was a bad one.
I don't think the need for new signings is as much as it's been this season, this January.
But I mean, we dilly-dally every single transfer window.
Yeah. Apart from the one under Conte where we had all of it done in July.
Yeah. And even then we expected more towards the end and we never got it. But anyway, let's talk about potential transfers. Peter O'Rourke says that Tottenham are tracking highly rated Udinese defender Thomas Kristiansen, 22-year-old Danish under-21 international. I've been hearing that he's due for a call-up to the senior team in the next international break apparently as well. Hasn't played too much football this year due to a calf problem, but he has currently got flu at this moment in time. And
so we've gone from only signing injury-prone players to only signing players who are ill now. We have to match it up with the squad. They have to fit in.
But since coming back from his calf problem, he has been starting for Udinese. But yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about him.
I mean, I haven't seen him play, but he's quite tall. Apparently, he's quite quick. I mean, the data doesn't suggest anything outstanding, but look, we need the bodies in. If they've scouted him and decided he's kind of a good fit for the system, then get him in because we need the bodies. But yeah, I don't know too much about him.
Let's talk about Sam Johnstone. Paul O'Keefe said yesterday that Johnstone is now emerging as a strong candidate for Spurs as they search for a goalkeeper as a backup for Vicario. He is one of the leading contenders for Spurs. And Ali Gold did say something similar, but then he did kind of reply to that saying Johnstone was seemingly one of the keepers Spurs had considered again, as they did back before they signed Fraser Forster, but it's not going any further than that. So
yeah, I think that's the right decision. As much as we need, I think we do need an upgrade on Forster. I think Forster has done a decent job, but I think in the last few games he's really shown that he's not quite up to, very clearly not Vicario's level, but look, he's just a below average keeper at this point in time, I think, in terms of Premier League, and we need an improvement on that. Sam Johnstone would be a slight improvement. I don't think it was enough of an improvement for me to think that signing him would make a massive difference, in my opinion. He hasn't had a great few years as well. It's been a while since he's been playing well at club level. So I think there's no point. I just don't see why invest in him. I don't see the point in it. So for me, I mean, the gap between Forster and Johnstone is not big enough to justify getting Johnstone in.
Bring back Josh Keeley is what I say. And then last but not least, Gazzetta dello Sport are claiming that Jose Mourinho wants to be reunited with Son Heung-min and sign him for Fenerbahce.
I want to be united with Son Heung-min.
You want to be what?
United with him.
United. You are united with him. You and Son Heung-min have a bond that can't be broken.
All right, so Mourinho can get lost. Look, I don't think he's going to Fenerbahce, in my opinion. Unless his bad form really continues and it's not improving, then he might be leaving. But I think this is a temporary lack of form at the moment for him. I do think I've seen enough from him this season to suggest that he's still got a lot to offer. And I don't think he's going to go to Fenerbahce. I know, look, I'm sure Mourinho wants him. I don't think Mourinho's probably going to be there by the time Son goes anyway. So don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. That is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those news stories we've spoken about today.